Hey, good morning. Chuck here with Apple Drains. Do you have a pressure washer? I'll bet you do. Or do you have a mud pump? You might already have this mud pump. Let me show you two ways to drill a shallow well, and you will have your own water supply, whether you use it for drinking or irrigation. But these are the two best videos I've got. Take a look and learn.
What we're going to do today, or start to do, is we're going to use our pressure washer and the mini jetter to drill a shallow well. And this is something that you guys could do. You could do this yourself and save all kinds of money. You still got to get your pump and things like that, but paying somebody to come out and do what I'm going to do right here save you a few $1,000s. So basically, let's get started here. Over here I've got a hole, I'll show you in a second. Use my shovel just to kind of get started. I'm going to use my post hole diggers to go down a little bit deeper so I can start a shaft. I'm going to run a 4-inch pipe down as far as I can. I hope to get down about 20 feet with the 4-inch. Then I'm going to run a 2-inch shaft down through that. And inside the 2-inch, we're going to run a 1-inch pipe. That's going to be our suction up to the Okay, you can see I'm down about 2 feet with the shovel, and I just wanted to cut the tree roots. There's still one more big root there. I'm going to use the post hole diggers to get past that root, and then we'll fire up the pressure washer, and we'll put our mini jetter on there. We've got about 50 feet of hose, and if I can get that to go down 50 feet, I'm sure we're going to hit some water. So let's see if we can get this last little bit of root out of here. So you can see those teeth. This is so that when I put it down in the ground that I can twist it, kind of like a drill. And I've got a T that I'll put on the other end that we can take on and off, so we can just twist it back and forth. That with the jetter, this should work its way down slowly but surely into the ground. Let's fire up the jetter. Okay, the way the mini jetter works is it's got two little holes in the front, and that's going to dig down into the dirt. And then there's a lot of jets that pull the debris back. So we're going to start this down to the bottom of the pipe. Then we're going to kick it on. It's going to be a mud pie. Working good. Okay, I turned off the pressure washer so you can hear me, but you can see we've got the water coming up. Can you see that water coming up? That's coming up from the bottom of that 10-foot pipe, and the jetter pushes it out. It just comes out, spills it out. That's pulling out the sand. So now we just need to twist. We use this T as the handle. Just twist it back and forth. Remember the teeth I cut on it? We'll get this piece down in there, and then we'll try to get the next piece on there, but it's getting pretty tough. But that's good. We have a nice shaft, and we can get the 2-inch started through that.
Okay, we're down about 10 feet, and you can see the shaft is full of water. Next, we're going to go ahead and put the 2-inch. I'm going to cut a drill bit on the bottom of the 2-inch pipe, just like we did on the 4-inch, and we're going to use that jetter to send the 2-inch down as far as we can go.
You see, we made it into a drill bit so that when we push it down there, we'll put a 2-inch T, and if we need the extension for leverage, we can twist it. We're going to stick this right down into the 4-inch, and it should go, it'll probably drop all the way. Need to put another coupling on it right away, but we'll go ahead and get that started right now. So let's go ahead and put this in there. Should just drop all the way down. Oh yeah. See, now we're starting to hit some soft sand, but you can see I can push it right through there. You hear the pressure. We can get it down even deeper if we want, but we're going to go ahead and put the jetter on there now. Okay, I don't want to go too much farther because the pipe might drop where I can't reach it. So let me start over, put the next 10-foot piece on. Now we're going to use the ladder because we need the drill, we need the derrick to get down to it. So that was quick 10 feet, and you can see how I just was twisting the pipe. I don't need to have any T or anything. It's just going down in there like butter. But I don't want to go too much farther because it could drop, and then I wouldn't be able to reach it. I need to put that piece on with a coupling, and then we'll start on top of the ladder and start again. Okay, you can see why you need the ladder because we put 10 feet on there. Remember, this is an 8-foot ladder. Comes down. I got the hose, the jetter already down in the pipe, so now we're ready to fire up the pressure washer. And as that jetter digs itself down, pulls the dirt back up, we can push that 2-inch pipe down into the ground. Remember I also made a drill bit at the bottom. Remember I cut that on the 2-inch, so it should just be able to twist and go right down into the ground. So here's the well that I started, and what I did was I went ahead and sunk down 10 feet just as a guide tube of SDR 35, and then I put on, this is about 35 feet of 2-inch pipe. And what we need to do is to go ahead and rehook up the jet and loosen this up so we can continue to go a little bit deeper. You know, all the sand and everything underneath the ground has now collapsed and went all around this pipe. So I should be able to take this pipe wrench and be able to twist this. Yep, it turns. And we'll loosen that up, adding more water to that, and we'll be able to pull this up and down and continue with the well. This has been sitting here for about 60+ days, so it's quite some time. But what I did was I went ahead and bought from Harbor Freight, I went ahead and bought this mud pump, and I watched a few videos of other people of how they're using the mud pump to make these wells, so we're going to give that a try too. And we actually bought a couple of hoses, the discharge and the intake hose as well. And what we're going to do is we're going to fill up a couple of pools so we have a water supply, and we'll actually filter from here as that water comes out of the well from the pump. It's going to come out here, it's going to filter out, all the sand and debris will come out to here, and we'll be able to repump that water back in so we have a recirculating supply of water. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, let's take a look at what's going on here. We've got the outlet from the mud pump is this line right here. It sends the water from our water supply up. It goes around, it comes down, it goes down into the bottom of the well. Remember, this pipe is now 35 feet deep, and we need a place so we can replenish the water. As that water comes back up, it'll back up in this pipe pretty quick. As it comes back up, it's going to discharge through this line, and it'll come, you can see it, just follow it around back over to our water supply. This is the inlet, and we've got the screen valve. We've got the screen valve there so that any sand and sediment that comes out of the well will not go through our mud pump, although it can handle a pretty good amount of sand and solid. So let's go ahead and prime our pump, okay? We're going to go ahead and fill that up. So it's going to take a lot of water because it has to fill up this hose until it comes to the same level as the pump itself. And some water is going to go down this line too. So it's going to take quite a bit of water. It's going to take quite a bit of water, but we'll fill it up. Yeah, see, it just wants to run down the line, so we'll keep on going. We'll fill this all the way up. Then we're ready to start this for the first time. looking pretty good. Still has a little bit of air. It'll suck a little bit of air, you know, because you can see the level is going higher up to that trash can, but should work really good. Let's give it just a little bit more water. That looks real good. Well, we can put that cap back on there and we're ready to start this up. So we can put the cap back on here. We might have to prime it a couple times, but we'll see what happens. Just don't want to cross thread this. It's always nice to have two hands, but when you're using the camera, make sure it's good and secure in there. Okay, now we'll go over the starting procedures of this, what is this, Harbor Freight mud pump. Okay, we've got, the power. We're going to turn on, so we get electric when we turn this. It'll have its own little generator, make things run. We put oil in there, check the oil. We've got brand new fuel in here. Coming over to check, look at the carburetor. Looking good, looking good. Real good. So over here on the side, we need to turn on the fuel, on and off, turn on the fuel. We want to go ahead and put it to start, to choke it. And I'm going to go ahead and put it all the way to the fast right there, and then we're going to pull it and see what happens. So we're pulling water, a little slowly but surely. There it goes. Okay, things are looking good. I know there's some leaks, but that's okay. I can see the water in the main shaft rising up. It's pulling water, it's pushing water down to the bottom, but it's also sucking it back out. It comes around, and you can see it. We're actually pulling more water than the pump because this is self-contained. So we're pulling water from the bottom, it's pushing it right out of there. So next, I'm going to send the well point down through the 2-inch pipe, and then we'll pull this pipe off. We'll take out the 2-inch and we should be in good shape. So let's get started. This is the check valve, so we're going to go ahead and secure that. Let that set up for a second. We're ready to go. Can you hear that water? Now we need to get down to here, set our vice grips on here so we can hook up another piece. And we're all set. We'll let that set up for a second. Ready to go on down. Okay, so that's the bottom of the well right there. We've got 20 feet plus 10, we're 30 feet from here to the bottom of the well. Now for the hard part. We need to pull this 2-inch piece out of here. And remember, this is over a month old. We did loosen it up with the mud pump, get a lot of water around it, but I've already pulled on it and it's really hard. So I've pulled it up about 5 feet, but let me just show you. You get your pipe wrench on here.
Or lizard
frog.
frog.
I can spin it. It's because it's so smooth and the sand
we're 20 feet.
But now we need to lift it. Could use an extra hand. That was the work, but we got it. So this is our well point, and we'll cut this off, and tomorrow we'll hook up the well pump, see what we get. Let me go over the well point for you so that you understand what we did. We've got, basically the well point is a piece of pipe and it's perforated and it has really tiny slits all around it. Can you see them? Really tiny little slits, and they run all the way around the pipe. You can join the pipes together. This is an interior coupling, and you come up after you go past the perforated part. That's going to be where all the water's collected. You need to put a check valve, and this is 1.25 inches. We need to adapt to 1 inch. The check valve keeps all that water from coming back down from the pump, so the pump stays primed. And then you can add as much pipe as you want, as deep as you go. Real simple. But you do need to cut these off. You can see I cut one of them off, and we just couple them together. So this pump I bought about 2 months ago, and it's been sitting out in a storage shed, and it's an Everbuilt. It came from Home Depot, and you can see it's totally self-contained. It's got the pump, it's got the air, it's got the valve, it has a regulator. It's totally self-contained, which is really great, about $300. And the only thing that you have to buy is you have to buy a few fittings so that you can make your plumbing connections, and that's not bad. But what's nice about it, I like to run things on 110, and what that means is that I can hook up just a regular plug, directly into where we wired it together. Let's take a look in there first. And I mean, it makes it so simple. One of the great things about this particular pump, and most pumps today, you can switch it from 115 to 230. And granted, 230 does pull less power. I mean, it's save you a little bit of money on your electricity, but like I said, I like to run 110 because I can easily plug this into a receptacle, a GFI receptacle, which we've already got close by here. So to wire it up, real simple. You've got your power wires together, you got your hot wires, you got your neutral wires together, and your grounds. Real simple. Take a look. And it's so easy to put this back together. It's just, you just need a screwdriver. Of course, you can use a handy dandy drill as well. Secure the screws, put it back together, and it's ready to plug in. And we're all set. So, kind of go over it real quick. We've got our inlet, the suction line coming out of the well. We just watched that video of how much work that was to put that together. And we'll bring up a 1-inch pipe, comes up, goes into the pump. The pump's just going to pull that water right out, come right out through here. I added a little valve just to keep it so I can show you real quick. But what a great little system to run. I mean, it works so good. So this is a typical well point, and this is what I use. This is 1.25 inches, and if you look closely, you can see all of the lines that have been cut in it to allow the water to come in. And I use 2 of them and put the insert inside, the coupling, to push them together. And so we've got, I actually use 4-foot pieces, so we've got about 8 feet of well point that goes down into the ground. That's right over here. So just a real quick review. This is just kind of a protection shaft, just because this kind of moves around a little bit, and when we put the cap on here, we put the well cap on top, it's not going to move at all. But protection for right now, this goes down about 10 feet. This pipe, this is the inlet. It's got the well point at the bottom of it and a check valve. After the well point, you need to put a check valve so that the water does not just run back out of your pump and go back down into the ground. You got to keep that pump primed all the time. So that's the setup there, real simple. Comes over. Got some inspections right here. We're going to turn it on and see what kind of pressure we get out of it. Really excited. Let's see if it works. So here we go. Oh, it kicked right on. Oh, it's pulling water right away. Let's turn this off so we can build up some pressure. Oh, I can hear it building up. Beautiful, beautiful. So we're building up pressure. Let's see how much pressure we can get and hold. Looking good, over 40 pounds, 50 pounds. 50 pounds, well, 48 pounds of pressure. Not bad, not bad. So now we're just going to go ahead and let it run for a while, see what kind of, of flow we get. Oh, wow, yeah. You can see that water. It's shooting out all the way back here. Beautiful, beautiful. We're just going to let it run, see if it clears up. Also, I want to see if we have sulfur water, so let's just smell it. Smells pretty clean. Real clean. Pump just kicked back on. We'll watch that again. I think this pump's set for about 20 pounds. That's when the pressure gauge will kick it back on again. So we're doing really good. Let's let this run. I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm going to let it run for about an hour and see how much, just make sure that that well is going to pull plenty of water. So a really great buy, I think, for 300 bucks, totally contained, don't have to buy anything else. It seems to be functioning pretty well. Yes, we could get a larger storage tank and get a little bit more pressure, but for what I'm doing with it, this is going to work really good. This is the power of the Harbor Freight 2-inch mud pump. Let's kick on the water and just watch. This is one of the most rewarding projects you can do. I was so surprised at how easy this project is to get free water. Hey, good morning. Chuck here with Apple Drains. We are going to dig a well and show you the fastest way to get water. And there's a couple of different methods. You probably watched lots of videos, so have I. But this one I think is going to really help you get down deep down into the ground, whether you're in clay or sand. I believe it will work in clay. We are in a sand base. There is a layer of clay down about 15-20 feet. And there's also a layer of peat moss that's down there. The peat moss is harder than the clay, but we'll go ahead and get through that, and I'll show you what we're going to do for that. There is, of course, some hand digging. You've got to do some prep work. So first we're going to start with the shovel, then the post hole digger. But let's get started. We need to get the area prepped. So we're going to start with the shovel.
Whether you're digging in clay or sand, you need to start a small hole. And we just need to get down a couple of feet. Then the post hole diggers will take over. They really do a quick job of getting down deep.
So we always want to dig as deep as we can with our hand tools. Post hole diggers, they work the absolute best.
Post hole diggers work quickly, and you'll notice right away, can you see how the soil has changed colors? This is peat moss, and I'm digging through that peat moss. It is actually very hard substance. Let me bring you a close-up of that.
Can you see this? You see how dark that is? This is peat moss. And it's got some moisture in it, but not much.
Dig as far as you can with your post hole diggers. You should have a little hole and a shaft that looks like this.
So this is 10 feet of 3-inch pipe. I made a drill bit on the bottom of it. We're going to use the 3-inch instead of the 4 to start our shaft. I'll sink this down here. Perfect. Some more material. So what I have is a 3-inch T, and we'll be able to put this on the top of that pipe if it's getting stuck, and we can twist it back and forth, and those teeth will dig down through that peat moss. So with the teeth on the bottom of this is a 10-foot section of 3-inch. We should be able to drive this down using the pressure washer and the mini jet. And what we'll do is, if it gets too hard by just jetting it, we can put this on the top and we can twist it back and forth. We should be able to drive that down deeper. Okay, I'm going to set up the mud pump and we're going to give that a try. On the mud pump, I did cut some teeth in this 1-inch pipe just in case.
Okay, let's review where we are. Remember, we used the hand tools to get this first piece of 3-inch PVC down this deep. Now we're going to fire up that mud pump. And this is a 40-foot section of 1-inch pipe. I cut the teeth on the bottom just in case it got stuck, but I don't think we'll need it. We're going to push this down till it hits the bottom. Then I'm going to go and turn on the mud pump. When I turn that mud pump on, watch what happens. As soon as I fire up that mud pump, you can see the 1-inch pipe filling up with water. And I mean, it's really got a lot of power, a lot of pressure going down into that well. The amount of pressure that we've created is going to blow that dirt out and up through the shaft. It's going to push that dirt out of the way and allow us to sink this 3-inch shaft down all the way. You'll notice as I shove that 1-inch pipe down, the 3-inch pipe begins to drop. This goes quick. So using the mud pump, I sent that 1-inch pipe down almost 40 feet, blowing all the dirt and debris back up through the shaft. Now I'm going to try to push this 3-inch pipe down. I started to twist it and it started to go down, but let's go get that T and put it on the top. That gives me a little bit more leverage to twist it, and I'm just going to sink it and it's going to drop like a rock. Look at that. It easily drops down 10 feet.
Not bad. Now it's time to add another 10 feet. So we're going to glue up a coupling, put on another 10-foot piece of 3-inch PVC, then we'll fire up the mud pump one more time and sink all of this down. So we'll be down 20 feet at the end of this process. I'm using an all-in-one cement. It holds that coupling and pipe extremely well. Once you set that and it welds, it's permanent. You'll also notice that I've got a pipe wrench holding the first piece of 3-inch PVC. This is important. That is so soft down in the ground right now that you could easily drop the first shaft, especially as you sink the second shaft on top of it.
Nice.
Okay, let's go ahead and put this jet down in here. Remember, that's coming from the mud pump, 2-inch reducing to 1. We've got 40 feet of 1-inch pipe. Let's put that down into our 3-inch shaft. The mud pump works so good, and the reason why is because we are reducing the outlet, the discharge of the mud pump, down to 1 inch. It creates so much pressure. Notice as I push the 1-inch pipe down, the water changes color. You can see it changes a little bit darker. That means it's digging and pushing that debris up. It's also coming up through the hole itself, around the outside of the pipe. You can tell when you get down deep enough because the water will turn clean. You can see it's still kind of brown. I'm still digging through that clay. That is clay that I'm digging through. And it's pushing right through there. So I know that you can do this in clay as well as down here in the south. Don't try to force your shaft down. Let the pump do the work. Notice, you can see I'm almost 30 feet down now. It doesn't take long at all. I need to get back up higher on the ladder, get more leverage to push it down. And you can see I'm looking at what's coming out, and it's looking good. This is the water-bearing sand. This is where the water table is. It's down there about 30 feet. You'll know when you are in that good sand that holds the water. It becomes like butter, where it's so easy for you to push it. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this shaft out, and we're going to go ahead and sink the rest of the 3-inch down. Then we're ready to put the well point in and hook up the pump. Things are getting exciting now. I was able to push that 1-inch pipe down 40 feet, and now I'm just pulling it out. We're almost ready to set up the well point and hook up the pump and see if we have water.
I don't want to hit my camera. It might. Yeah.
Right now we're almost 20 feet. We're using a mud pump from 2-inch to 1-inch. We're reducing that outlet to 1-inch, and it creates tremendous pressure. So I stopped here. I thought I was going to cut it off, but if I push on this, you can see I can still go down. So it's really soft down there, which is great. I don't know if you heard that, but it's really soft down there. That's great. And I can actually pull it back up, go down more. So we're almost 20 feet. Yeah, looking good. So that's 20 feet of 3-inch pipe that I sunk down using that mud pump. Setting up the well point. You can see I've got 2 pieces. These are, I guess, 3 feet long, so 6 feet, maybe they're 4 feet long. And what we need to do is cut off one of the bottom
points, because we're going to put these two together and have an extra long well point. So let's just cut the bottom off. So there's going to be our point, and we're just going to glue these two together with a coupling. This is 1¼ inch pipe, 1¼ inch well point. Got an 1¼ inch coupling. We're going to just slide it right on there. Nice. Same thing on this one. This is all-in-one cement, so it's got the primer built into it, but I'm not that worried about it coming apart down there. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Slide this so you can see it. Let me put this down here. We've got our tip of our well point. It runs all the way down, so we've got a lot of water collection. If we can get this well point, that point, and this entire, I guess this is 8 feet below the water table, this is going to work great. It's going to work really, really good. Let's go over the well point. Well point. See how it's got a tip on the end of it, a little point? This is 1¼ inch pipe, and you can see all the little slits in here, all the slots. We've got 8 feet of this. We coupled it together. What I did was cut off the point of another shaft and just coupled them together. You can see it just runs all the way down here. Then we had to, remember it's 1¼ inch, so we had to adapt to 1 inch. So we've got a 1 inch check valve right here. Can you see that little arrow pointing the direction of flow? So we adapted it to 1 inch, screwed all that together, and then when we're ready, we'll go ahead and hook up our suction pipe. It's all 1 inch. It'll glue into here, and this pipe is going to come up to the pump. And it could be as deep as we want, but we've got a well pump that can pull about 30 feet, 25 feet maybe. 30 feet would be great.
So we're done with this ladder, I hope. Okay, let me see if I can get this T off of here. Good, got that off. Got a nice shaft. Let me move this out of the way in case it overflows. All right, so we're ready to go ahead and start jetting 1 inch pipe. You know, they make hoop houses. You saw the hoop house out of this 1 inch material, so I'm not too worried about it breaking or anything when I bend it. We're going to push it all the way down to the bottom. Should be down there about 20 feet. There it is, that's the bottom right there. Okay, I'm going to fire up the mud pump. Open up the water, fire up the mud pump. We're going to sink this down another 20 feet, and then we're going to quickly install this well point. Let's do it.
Okay, this is the stressful part. You know, with every project it comes a little bit of stress. We need to sink this 40 feet all the way down. It has to get below the 20-foot section of the 3 inch pipe. Does that make sense? Because our well point has to be down into the water table. The 3 inch pipe is actually the protection of the suction of the pump. So that 3 inch pipe's not going to go anywhere. But I'm going to pull this 1 inch pipe that we're sinking down now, I'm going to pull this out very quickly. And then we're going to reinsert the well point. We have to do this relatively quickly because the area below the shaft, below the 3 inch, will collapse. It will cave in a matter of minutes. The power of that mud pump and reducing it down to 1 inch made this chore so easy. I mean, you can see I'm down 40 feet pushing that 1 inch pipe up and down. You can see all the water is pushing all that debris out of the way. We're making an area that we're able to send the well point down below the 3-inch pipe. So I'm just letting it run. And you see I sprung a leak there with the hose. That made it kind of fun. But, you know, it's all part of when you're working. Things happen. Let's go ahead and pull this pipe out of here. I'm going to go shut the pump off. Let's pull this 1-inch pipe out, and then we're going to go ahead and insert the well point.
We sprung a leak, but that's okay. I've got another hose if we need to use it. But let's just see. Let's get this out. What I'm going to do, put this down in here, then we'll clamp it off so we don't lose it. And then we'll put that 20 feet on there. Okay, now I'm just going to glue this piece on, or try anyways. Be nice to have an extra hand, right? It's hard to do with one hand. I might have waited too long. Nice. Very nice. We lock it down. There we go. Okay. Let me go get the pump and we'll see if we can get water up out of here. Pretty sure we can. Let's get that pump and try it out. Okay. Sorry to take another short break. Got to find some parts here real quick. Now we just need a measurement from here to here, and probably could just use these.
This pump is an old Everbuilt, and it was an old pump that I replaced from a previous well, and it's been sitting in the shed for about a year. Now what I'm doing is connecting the suction line, the inlet line. This is from the well point into the pump. Remember, this is 1-inch pipe. All we need to do is glue this up, make that connection, and we're almost ready to kick this pump on. Really excited at this point. I think hopefully you are too. Did we hit the water? Are we going to be able to pull water out of the ground and get free water? Of all the projects that you do around your house, this is one of the best ones. It's the most fun and most rewarding. You know, did you hit water? Let's find out.
Look at that. We have great water. Looking so good. So the pump should kick on here any second. There it goes. Picks back up. No smell. It's perfect. I'm going to let it run. So I'm just going to let that run while I put some things away. What do you think? Was that the fastest you could ever drill a well? And you know, you could do this in the clay. Granted, I'm in the sand, but you saw me. I got stuck there in that peat moss, and there was a layer of clay where I really did have to kind of twist and pound. But as soon as I hooked up that mud pump and got the pressure through the 1-inch pipe on the outlet, I dug right down through there. We were able to sink that 3-inch pipe, all the way down. That could be our well casing. We could actually pull this pipe out and put another 2-inch well point down there, and then put the 1-inch inside of that and have a casing. But I'm not worried about that, because I know that this will last a long, long time. Hey, this is Chuck with Apple Drains, reminding you that if you believe you can do something, I guarantee you can do it. Have a great day.